sparked many minds of engineers who wanted to make the Hyperloop a reality. The two companies who took on this idea is Hyperloop Transportation Technologies and Hyperloop One. Musk also developed his own company with this idea. Okay. What inspired me? I spend about 20 minutes each way going to and from school each day, and in total I spend 40 minutes in a car wasting my time. One day I complained to my dad about how I have to sit in a car for 20 minutes when I could be doing homework or everyday activities. My dad has always kept up with Elon Musk, and he told me that Musk invented something that could significantly change the way we move from place to place. This change was called the Hyperloop. When I first started ParishExplore, I decided to research into the two opposing sides of this topic and learn how the Hyperloop will affect our society. Okay. How does the Hyperloop work? The Hyperloop will be able to go 760 miles per hour, and when moving, the pod will not use any friction or air resistance while it is within its tube. It won't use friction by using magnetic levitation, and this levitation will make the pod hover within its tube. Vacuum pumps will also pull the air out of the tube to allow the pod to travel without any air resistance. So what does this mean? This means that there will be a pod inside of a tube, like the picture up there, and the pod will hover inside of its tube using magnetic levitation, and in the space, as you can see right between there, between the pod and the tube, there will be vacuum pumps that will suck out the air out of that space and allow the pod to go faster so that no air is stopping the pod from moving. There are many cons about the Hyperloop. The first con is the cost needed up front to build the Hyperloop. Hyperloop One believes that it will cost them $8.5 billion to build a Hyperloop from LA to San Francisco, whereas Elon Musk believes that it will just take him $6 billion to build a similar version of the Hyperloop from LA to San Francisco. This is a 35% difference in billions of dollars that will be put into the Hyperloop. Within the cost of the Hyperloop, cities must support the Hyperloop because it is a public mode of transportation and requires public funding. The cost of the Hyperloop can also make many leaders back out in making it a reality. Quay Hayes, who is the developer of Quay Valley, is trying to reduce the population's dependency on cars. Quay Valley will be 100% solar powered and will be the prototype for a future town. In addition to that, Hyperloop Transportation Technologies is in agreement with the developers of Quay Valley in that they are building a Hyperloop track that will go around 5 miles of the town. When I was reading this article, I was thrilled that a new environmentally friendly town was going to be built with a Hyperloop in it. Unfortunately, this was going to happen until the main developer, Quay Hayes, dropped out by sending a letter to officials but gave no reason why he left. Eventually, the officials stated that Hayes had the right idea, but it required too much work and money. The second con is the public willingness to ride the Hyperloop. Hyperloop One says that they will have a fully functioning freight service by 2020. Even though this is only 2 years away from now, a major accident could happen with the freight Hyperloop, which could shy people away from it when it is able to transport people in 2021. When you are on the Hyperloop, you can feel yourself accelerating for the first few initial seconds. This could be a similar feeling to being on a roller coaster. Because of this, the Hyperloop could have unknown effects on the human body, such as the amount of speed it will put on the body and the speed there always comes heat. We also do not know the effects of radiation and electromagnetic waves that the Hyperloop could produce. The last con is that there has to be a lot of engineering and science behind the building of the Hyperloop. This also goes with making the inside of the pods of the Hyperloop comfortable. According to a mechanical engineering journal, they applauded Musk in his way of thinking to make transportation faster, but they believe that the Hyperloop requires a lot of improvement on making the ride comfortable. The video that I'm about to show is about how Hyperloop Transportation Technologies and the college UCLA are teaming up to make the Hyperloop an enjoyable ride.
You've heard the saying, time is money, and it is. Perhaps that's why we complain about travel. How can we get there faster? Can this experience be better? We dream about moving comfortably from place to place in the blink of an eye. That's essentially the dream of the Hyperloop. Each year, this UCLA grad program takes on a big problem and tries to solve it.
research of this project, we had to find experts on our topic and ask them any questions that we had. The first expert that I reached out to is Dan Sturgis. He is an expert in the field of mobility, and he thinks that the Hyperloop will cause more problems for our society by being a mode of transportation. Sturgis believes that humans are using too much energy for material items while our planet suffers. One of his solutions to this is for more of our population to live in megaregions instead of building the Hyperloop. A megaregion is where multiple regions share environmental systems to reduce the amount of carbon dioxide in the air. These are some of the upcoming megaregions in our country, and as you can see right near us, there's one called the Texas Triangle. The second issue that he fears in the building of the Hyperloop is that we will use eminent domain to publicly take ownership of people's private land to build Hyperloop systems. However, he has looked at both sides of the equation. He says that he would trust the Hyperloop if it ever became a reality, but he wouldn't ride in it for the first year for safety purposes, but then he would be comfortable riding in the Hyperloop. I continued to question him on what he thought about Hyperloop transportation technologies, Hyperloop One, and Elon Musk's Hyperloop. He firmly said that he had zero confidence in Hyperloop transportation technologies and their leader. He believes that Hyperloop One is developing something closer to Elon's blueprint, but he does not know any information about Elon Musk's Hyperloop because Elon Musk has not been active recently in his Hyperloop company. Now let's start with the pros of the Hyperloop. The first pro is that the Hyperloop is environmentally friendly when compared to our existing methods of transportation today. Trains, planes, and cars use fossil fuels that emit carbon dioxide into the air, while the Hyperloop uses renewable energy. A plane has to ascend and descend, but with the Hyperloop you can step on it and get right where you want to be. The second pro is the speed of the Hyperloop. Let's say you lived in Dallas and wanted to go to a concert in Austin. To drive from Dallas to Austin, it would take you 4 hours with traffic. Alternatively, you could take the 19-minute route by getting on the Hyperloop. The third pro is that the Hyperloop is said to be affordable and you will not have to book in advance for your tickets, like when you have to ride on the plane. Experts believe the ticket for a Hyperloop could be cheaper than a plane ticket. With the Hyperloop, you could be in and out within minutes. To wrap up the pros, citizens who support the idea of the Hyperloop think that the Hyperloop will be better for the environment, faster to get around in, and cheaper. This brings me to the second expert that reached out to me, who was also in the video that was shown. She is a woman involved in making the Hyperloop a comfortable ride. Her name is Marta Nowak, and she is a student at UCLA. She believes that the Hyperloop will change the concept of time and space because it has the potential to make a significant change in our lives. In her opinion, the Hyperloop will change our way of transportation now because the tickets will be affordable and there will be no need to book in advance for your ride. She continued to say that it could also change how goods and/or emergency supplies are delivered and distributed. When I asked her if she thought the Hyperloop was going to become a reality, she said of course it was. But what we need to figure out now is where it will be located and when it will start running. According to Nowak, it will take the public just one trip to accept the Hyperloop because it can travel faster and it is affordable. She also designed stations for the Hyperloop to be in. So this is a model station that she has designed, and as you can see here, this is the tube that the Hyperloop will travel in, and there's the Hyperloop pod, and this looks what to be an outside tube, and then the pod is inside of the tube. Whenever Nowak starts building a model station, she has one goal in mind, to create the most smooth experience from the moment you are dropped off at the entrance. There are no lines, no gates, and minimal security to not slow you down. The station is also designed in a way where no one gets lost, so whatever direction you turn, you will always end up at a capsule. She closed by saying that the capsule will leave the station every 30 seconds, but the loading may take 2 minutes. So what have these experts taught me? Overall, these experts taught me that there are always two opposing sides in every situation. Dan Sturgis, who is against the Hyperloop, said that it will only take a while for the public to accept the Hyperloop, and personally, he will only ride in it a year after it makes its debut. On the other side, Nowak, who is for the Hyperloop, thinks that it will take just one ride for the public to accept the Hyperloop. She thinks this because flights right now are expensive and very harmful to the environment. And once people see the Hyperloop, they will choose it over planes, trains, and cars. They also both taught me that if you believe in something, you should stand up for it, which is what they both do in their everyday life. Conclusion. In my opinion, putting time, effort, and money into a type of transportation that our generation will most likely use, I am all for the Hyperloop. Even though there are still unanswered questions about the Hyperloop, I believe that if we don't try new ways to transport ourselves, that we will not be able to move forward. Studies have also shown that the Hyperloop's cost of construction will be cheaper than the cost of a high-speed rail construction. The Hyperloop is more environmentally friendly than trains, planes, and cars. One of my ideas to make the Hyperloop easier to build is to take all of the routes in our train stations and turn those existing train tracks into Hyperloops. This will make it easier to find popular routes, and it will not take up more space in our environment. In conclusion, the Hyperloop will make our lives more enjoyable and easier. So I hope that when I'm older, I will be able to spend those wasted 40 minutes of my day and make something great out of them. Thank you.